Peace and love, Moors and the rest of the human family out there. This is your brother El, also known as Judah's son, also known as the Marketing Moor, chief content creator and trustee for Moorish Nationality Card Services. All right, so I know some of you are probably questioning, why are we looking at this finish line receipt on the screen? And we're going to get to that. Shouts out to Finish Line. So some of you are looking at the screen, already know what this is about. So shouts out to you for being abreast on things. All right. So, of course, yes, we are looking at the world-renowned Finish Line, a receipt from the world-renowned Finish Line shoe store, been around for years upon years and in most of the malls across North America, so-called United States, things of this nature. I grew up getting my shoes from Finish Line. So shouts out to them for being available to provide the services that they provide. All right. Now, the reason why I am showing you guys this receipt is because I was able yesterday, March 1st, depending on when you're viewing this, March 1st, 2020 AD, Roman calendar year, I was able to go into my local Finish Line and purchase a pair of shoes for my daughter. All right. Tax free. No sales taxes, no arguing about me being a Moor, Aboriginal, indigenous to the Americas, all of that good stuff that we always like to use when we're in public, making ourselves look super duper foolish, if you ask me, with all that arguing, right? I was able to go in here and we're going to scroll down. As you can see, we were able, here, this is a legit receipt. See, Finish Line, Lyria, Ohio, 44035. There goes their phone number. All right. Here goes the name of the salesperson. All right. That's my membership number right there. I don't know what y'all can do with that. Have at it. All right. Here we go. Purchased my daughter a pair of low top Air Force Ones, all white, size 10 for young ladies. $90 is the flat price of it. Now, usually when you go into a Finish Line, right, you grab a pair of shoes, they're being taxed. Usually it's $90 plus whatever the state tax percentage is. So the state tax percentage at the state of Ohio corporation is 6.75%. So that means I would have had to pay the $90 plus 6.75% of that $90. Now, as we can see here, subtotal $90, tax 6.75%. There was no tax involved. And trust me, at the state of Ohio corporation, they tax non-food items. Period. So, as you can see here, tax zero. $90 for the size 10 shoe, subtotal 90, tax 6.75%, zero, total $90. We utilized a debit card. Now, check this out, because we want to make sure you guys get this. All right, waiting for this other image to pop up here. Okay, so here's the other side of the receipt, because it was so long I had to scan it and scan the other side to make sure you guys can get a good view of it. So as you can see here, authorization number, trace number. This is all legit transaction, verified by PIN. I use my PIN number from the debit card. All right. As you can see here, tax exempt information. My appellation is too long for them to get it all in their system. Tax exempt information. All right. Name, Allah. Again, the L doesn't fit. Address, that's none of your business. Anyway, of course, I don't have an address. I have a mailing location, but these are the terms that they use. Tax exempt reason, exempt, exempt ID. So here we do have our own tax exempt ID. Now, I do not like to utilize the words exempt when it comes to how I operate at law with this non-taxation at the point of sale. And here's why. Is because when you're operating properly, lawfully, under practicing faith, missionary works, things of this nature, there is no tax exempt. What there is by law is mandatory exception. See, there's no 501c3. My organization is 508c1a. Now, I know some of you are like, okay, so how you get these taxes off? You're talking religion, 508c1a. What's that? We're going to go over here. All right. 508c1a is the a portion of the tax code. So I know a lot of you, sometimes you hear about these religious organizations, specifically the ones that are supposed to be dealing with our plights. They're 501c3. That's another portion of the tax code that falls under Title 26 of the United States Code. Title 26. So the IRS operates under Title 26. All right. It's just as simple as that. So 508, 501c3, that all falls under the tax code of Title 26. So some people say, well, you know what? Only 501c3s can get the taxes off. That's not true at all. The IRS recognizes 508, acknowledges and recognizes 508c1a religious organizations as a mandatory exception. There is no 501c3. There is no condition besides what I'm getting ready to read here. So let me show you how we're able to utilize getting taxes off at the point of sale. All right. Title 26, Section 508. Internal Revenue Code, Section 508, special rules with respect to Section 501c3 organizations. Special rules. All right. So it says, if you are going to be a 501c3 organization, it goes specifically and says, new organizations must notify Secretary that they are applying for recognition of Section 501c3 status. So if you want to be 501c3 to get the tax exemption, you must notify the Secretary of State. You must notify them. Now it says, except as provided in Section C, an organization organized after October 9, 1969 shall not be treated as an organization described in 501c3. So, except as provided in subsection C. So let's go to subsection C. Again, we're in 508C. See, we're talking about 508C1A. So we're at 508C, exceptions, 508C1, mandatory exceptions. Subsections A and B shall not apply. Okay, C1A. Churches, their integrated auxiliaries and conventions or associations of churches, or any organization which is not a private foundation and the gross receipts of which each taxable year are normally not more than $5,000. All right. Now, I've said this before. A lot of you hear the word church, you automatically think Christianity. What you have to comprehend with this tax code is when they utilize the word church, they're talking about temples, they're talking about mosques, masjids, all of that, all of those places, those organizations fall up under the word church, even though it may not necessarily be practicing Christianity. All right, you get that? So this extends to all religious organizations, except if they've signed themselves up for 501c3. All right. So one of the major issues with 501c3 is you're not allowed to address the important issues in the public from your pew or whatever the case may be, the issues that need to be addressed without jeopardizing your tax exemption. With 508, you can say what you want. You can address the issues that need to be addressed and not worry about some alphabet boy coming to snatch your non-tax obligation. All right. So again, as you can see here, we have a religious organization that allows us to utilize the tax code 508C1A, Title 26 508C1A, mandatory exception. We got the taxes off on a pair of shoes, $90 without the 6.75% tax rate added on. All right. We're going to verify this. As you can see, tax exempt information. This is all on the receipt. Now, what I did was, because in my experience, I noticed that with these organizations not being taxable, the 508 organizations that I'm speaking of, the IRS does not create documentation for those organizations. So what happens is those organizations end up finding themselves in the position to where they have to create their own non-tax obligation documentation. So I know sometimes you'll see people at the store with their 501c3 paper and they're pulling out this paperwork at the counter and things of this nature to get the taxes off, right? Well, what we did at Moorish Nationality Card Services is we went and we created the 508c1a religious non-taxation card. So, in fact, I have my own religious Moorish organization. It's not 501c3, 508c1a, been established since 2012, right? All I did was, while purchasing the shoes, I advised the gentleman who was taking the sale that I'm not obligated to the taxes, though they use exempt. That's their language. He asked for my documentation, and I simply pulled out my 508c1a religious non-taxation card. And it looks something like this. This is just all this information right on here is just example stuff. But this is how the 508c1a card looks, at least depending on. So this is one for the so-called Hebrew Israelites, right? So as you can see, appellation, Methuselah Nach Yisrael, religious organization, Holy Yisrael Temple of Israelite Moors, though that doesn't really exist. Faith, Hebrew, title, Hebrew missionary, non-taxation number, and then that would be the recording number of your organization, depending on how you have it established on the public record. So what we did was we took the recording number from the affidavits that we established for our religious organization, and we put it on here as the non-taxation number. So it's just as simple as that. Let's go back here. All right. So it really was just as simple as that. I pulled out my 508c1a card. He put in the information on the cash register. And the taxes came right off. So now I know some of you are probably also now inquiring, well, can I do that? Yes, you actually can. You can actually do that. What we've done is we've made the 508c1a card available for you Moors. Now you have options. Some of you may already have your own religious organization. So what does that mean? That means when we create your card, all we simply do is we take your religious organization information. We put it on the card here. As you can see, we put your, all this information here, and we put whatever your recording number is on the public record, and we put it on the card. And it's just as simple as that. And we print it off. So that way it's almost like an identification card. No one else can use it unless they are the ones that is on the card, unless they are members of your particular organization. So you have the option of utilizing your own organization, or you have the option of utilizing our organization when you get your 508c1a card. Now, the thing is, there is a one-time lifetime membership fee. All right. $50 with the purchase of your card. And what that would allow you to do is utilize the name of our organization and our non-taxation number. And you'll be a member of our organization, and you'll get, you'll get a position, brother, missionary, whatever the case may be, and you'll be able to utilize that at the point of sale at virtually every place that you go to, unless they have their own tax exempt program, of which you could then use this same exact card right here, and you can sign up for their non-taxation program or their tax exempt program, whatever the case may be. That's something that you can do. Now, one of the main reasons why we actually created the 508c1a card was because we were hearing the issues of where Moors were going to the point of sale with the Moorish National Identification Card, which should be good enough. should be good enough. But they kept having to argue their taxation position. And the weird argument that I was noticing, which is a little off of what I was noticing, is that they were saying, I'm a flesh and blood person. You cannot tax me because you are a corporation, right? So they're saying artificial persons can't do business with flesh and blood, organic persons, so-called natural persons, right? And that's actually true. But see, I noticed that Moors were really only using that argument when they were going to court. When they were going to the store, it was a total different thing, because then you're allowing the corporation to deal with you as the flesh and blood, so-called natural person, which is off. If corporations can't deal with natural persons, then in order for the corporation, the artificial person, to be able to do what it needs to do in order to close the transaction out, you have to have a person as well. So I figured it out back in 2012, sitting here arguing, embarrassing yourself, Moors getting the police called on them, getting arrested, getting their religious identification card seized without a warrant, further embarrassment charges, things of this nature. This shuts all of that down. Because as soon as you get to talking the tax code and they say, well, you're 501, because I've went through this myself before at Target. Well, you have to have, I'm like, no, I don't have to have that. That's for 501c3. We're 508c1a. As soon as I said that, supervisor came right over to the cash register, shut the cashier down, shut all that stuff she was talking down, took my sale, took the taxes off, and that was that. All right. So this card is available to you. It doesn't matter what your religious denomination is. You can be a Morisco Moor, Muslim Moor, Hindu Moor, Hebrew Israelite Moor, Voodoo Moor, Wiccan Moor, whatever your religious denomination is, we can make this 508c1a card for you. You are covered as well. All right. So we're going to look at this receipt again to see finish line. All right. $90, 6.75% is the tax of that. There's no taxes, straight flat $90, as we can see here. Air Force One, low top, size 10 for the baby girl, right? And we scroll down to the other side, the back side of the receipt, not the back side, the bottom part of it. And as we can see, tax exempt information. Here goes the appellation, even though they capitalized it. It's whatever. But as you can see, the taxes are coming off. Now, if you are interested in getting yourself one of these 508c1a card, then what you need to do is go into the description of this video, the caption of this video, or even the comments, depending on where you may be viewing this at, because we have multiple platforms to where we put this stuff at. Click that very first link. All right. Click that very first link. It's going to take you over to a page. You put in your name, the email address, your phone number, your religious organization, your denomination. All right. Submit that information and we'll contact you at our earliest convenience so we can answer any further questions that you may have pertaining to the 508c1a card. Either way, whether you jump on it or not, as you can see, Latazab and Yasha Allah El, Judah's son, the marketing Moor, is experiencing this and not having to argue with anyone whatsoever about not being taxed. No arguments at all. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I appreciate you allowing me to take up so much of your very valuable time. I'm up out of here. One.